An expatriate is a person working abroad for a longer period of time commissioned by a company. Expatriate ROI measures the cost and benefit of expatriation and is a merge of corporate and individual ROI. Hello, today we are in the offices of Bubel, a multinational software company. Let me introduce you to the team. This is Professor Dr. Hans-Günther Müller, Chief Executive Officer of Bubel AG. A few years ago, he worked as an expat in the Indonesian Bubel office for 5 years. Mr. Winterbottom works at Bubel. He is an expert in the field of business operations. He is 32 years old, married, and has 1 child. His wife is 6 months pregnant. Mr. Winterbottom is seeking to make a great career in the company. Ms. Schneider is 25 years old and just graduated from the second best business school in Germany, located in Wallenda. Mrs. Schneider started working for Bubel 2 months ago. And this is me, the narrator. Mr. Müller sits in his office and receives a call from the subsidiary CEO in Canada.
Ah, Mr. Pomeroy! Great to hear from you. I haven't talked to you in ages. How's the weather over there in Canada? Oh, great to hear you won the tender regarding the project in Vancouver. Good to see that the subsidiary is doing well. Ah, an expert is needed for managing projects with regards to operations. I'm actually pretty confident that we will find a suitable candidate for you. I'll talk to the HR department and I will get back to you as soon as possible.
Mr. Müller called Ms. Schneider into his office to tell her about his conversation with Mr. Pomeroy, the Canadian subsidiary CEO.
Hello, Mr. Müller, you want to see me?
Ms. Schneider, great to have you here. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
I have a very important task for you. We need to send an expatriate to Canada regarding a project in the operations field. For this project, we need an expert who has specific characteristics and skills. Additionally, the program needs to be designed properly.
Now the CEO is elaborating on the terms and conditions of the expatriate program in order to ensure a successful expatriation. There are some typical pitfalls when choosing an expatriate and designing the program. Sometimes expatriates are chosen without sufficient recruiting activities. This often leads to the assignment failing to achieve its objectives due to lacking skills of the expatriate. Similar results occur if the assignment is not planned properly. Increasing factors can be the lacking ability to adapt as well as language barriers.
I need a young, motivated expert with several years of experience in the operations area who has either already worked or studied abroad. Regarding the family status, I believe it is probably the best for the project if he is unmarried, because that will be more profitable.
Understood, but are you sure that I am capable of doing this task? I believe that my colleagues from EBS are more experienced in this field, due to their extensive HRM knowledge from their lectures.
I'm sure you can do this. I believe in you. Do you have any other questions?
Okay, but what is the program going to look like?
The expatriation takes 3 years and is supervised by the Canadian subsidiary CEO. The overall goal of the program is to decrease the overhead costs of the subsidiary by 20%.
I'll keep you updated and we'll find some suitable candidates.
Ms. Schneider from the HR department found a suitable candidate for the project in Canada. Mr. Müller and Mr. Winterbottom have already talked about the work assignment, but still need to figure out the details of the expatriation.
Mr. Winterbottom, that's why we are very confident that you will be able to fill the tasks that are required in Canada. Let's talk about your compensation package first. We offer you a $200,000 salary per year plus a 10% bonus if you achieve your tasks.
To be honest, I expected a little bit more because, you know, I leave my home country, I leave all my friends and a large part of my family. However, I will agree on the salary, but only if my family gets some support, some extra support. What about additional benefits?
Mr. Winterbottom, I understand your concerns. Therefore, we will take care of your housing expenses as well as education expenses for your children.
Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Müller. But what about cultural training opportunities as well as professional training regarding my job specification? Because the German headquarters offer me a variety of development opportunities.
We are very sorry, but your expatriation will focus on you working for the Canadian subsidiary. Hence, we won't have that many training opportunities for you. But there will be plenty of opportunities for you to develop your personal skills further when working for the Canadian subsidiary.
In this situation, the CEO tries to maximize the corporate ROI. By keeping the costs for training lower than expected, he increases the overall ROI. The CEO has to evaluate the costs of a €5,000 cultural training for the expatriate, and if the training will lead the expatriate to increase the revenue more than €5,000 over the 3-year period. Here, the CEO faces the trade-off of reducing costs on one hand, and on the other hand, not supporting the expat. A limited salary as well as bad family conditions might also reduce the expatriate's motivation. This is called the individual ROI. The individual ROI contains the psychological agreement. The psychological contract is an indirect and often unspoken agreement between employee and employer. It is reciprocal, which means that the company has certain performance expectations from the employee, while the employee also expects the company to provide family support and an adequate salary, as seen in the interview of Mr. Müller and Mr. Winterbottom. Individual ROI is key for the expatriation to succeed. Therefore, the CEO offers extensive family support, as an unhappy family is one of the main reasons for an expatriation to fail. Overall, Mr. Müller is aiming for optimizing the expatriate ROI, which represents the sum of corporate and individual ROI.
I hope you understand that we closely track your performance and your salary is also partly dependent on your success. This also offers you quick promotion opportunities if your expatriation should be successful.
One of the main problems with measuring an expatriate ROI is that it is not possible to directly measure it. There are, although, 4 ways to indirectly measure expatriate ROI. First, determine whether costs of assignment exceed budget or revenues increase. Second, immediate functional benefits, such as knowledge transfer or finding a new successor. Third, long-term strategic benefits, for instance, increasing brand recognition and overall value gained. Fourth, individual benefits, like enhancing the employee's career development. It is important to note that where informal measures are used, none of the measures calculate ROI in a meaningful way, such that it adds value to the ongoing management of expatriates. In most firms, despite frequent use of a range of informal measures, the data required to calculate ROI do not seem to be consistently tracked or applied, nor aligned to policy or mobility program. In addition, some managers view expatriate ROI as unnecessary or inappropriate. This may be a valid view in some circumstances. However, in many firms, a lack of measurement may have negative outcomes.
So, Mr. Winterbottom, are you accepting the offer?
Yes, sounds great. Looking forward to Canada.
Mr. Winterbottom, what shall I say? 40% cost reduction. You did more than a great job. I need you in a more important role at Bubel here in Germany. The COO is actually retiring in less than half a year. We need proper replacement. I suggest you finish your last month in Canada and come back to Germany as quickly as possible in order to take over the position in half a year. Until then, you will work in close collaboration with the COO and you will learn about his tasks. What do you think?
Usually, repatriation is a difficult topic, as many expatriates refuse to go back due to changed family conditions or cultural integration. A repatriation process needs to include a leveraging of skills gathered abroad. Otherwise, expatriates are likely to leave the company to competitors. But let's see what Mr. Winterbottom decides.
Actually, I plan on staying in Canada, but I cannot refuse to accept this offer. I will talk to my family and discuss it with them. So I will call you back soon.